We kind of poured over that. But I wanted to get your take on Brendan Rodgers' post-match comments. I think we can. I mean, there's the actual quote there. There's no way you're going to a race and be given the keys to a Honda Civic and say, "I want you to drive it like a Ferrari." It's not going to happen. And the reason why I want to get your take on that, Keith, is just because when I heard that last night, I just thought to myself, if I'm one of the players in the dressing room, how's that going to make me feel? I mean, what is he trying to achieve by saying something like that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, Mick obviously mentioned it when he was on the show yesterday, and I actually thought it was just Mick being Mick. I thought it was a Gannonism, but it wasn't. It was actually Brendan's own words, and I'm not sure where the value is in that at all. And I think you're right. If you are one of the players, well, thanks, boss.
I know. Cheers for that. I
know. Yeah. Listen again, and we mentioned right at the start about, isn't it incredible the state that both of these clubs have managed to get themselves into at the same time? This does feel a little bit, and look, I might be entirely wrong, but I think there's now a feeling or a worry that Brendan Rodgers is almost checked out already. That he's had his fallout with the board. He demanded that at least one head rolled over that, and it didn't happen. Is he now just resigned to seeing out the season and not really? Does he really have any belief that in January, if he needs the tools, if he needs to invest in that side and improve it, that the board's going to break their back for him in the market? It feels at this minute in time as if Celtic have come at the end of a cycle and they've not hit refresh, and that previous cycle is now involved in this current cycle, and it's just, Honda Civic with the wheels flying off it. That's what it feels like a little bit just now. Now, that's not to say, because this is Brendan Rodgers you're dealing with. He's tried and tested. He might be the one guy that is capable of turning this around and fostering the right environment inside his dressing room to get Celtic up and functioning and going again, and delivering this sort of intense front-footed football that he enjoys, that was his signature. It's not gone beyond the recoverable position yet. It's still mendable for Brendan Rodgers, but it does feel each passing week as if something else comes up that makes it even just that little bit more difficult than it already was. Whether it's the stuff about Maida doesn't want to be there anymore. Hatate looks like a guy whose mind is elsewhere. People are saying that Callum McGregor's legs are away. I'm not having that. You know what I think of Callum McGregor, but my goodness, he needs a bit of help in there. Cameron Carter-Vickers isn't looking just as dependable defensively as he had done, and the options in the final third have been almost obliterated by the board. It's an astonishing state of affairs. And yet somehow Brendan Rodgers is going to have to try and galvanise that group of players and get some big results out of them and some big performances. You look at the next few days, Daniel, and obviously Sturm Graz on Thursday, and then a visit to Tynecastle. And if these results don't go Celtic's way, the mood, which is already, I've said that the Rangers fans are mutinous at the minute. Celtic's going to be very, very similar. There was already, obviously, the protests, as we saw at Dens Park. And Brendan Rodgers is kind of taking cover behind the fact that it's the board that are getting the flack. But if Brendan fails to get a couple of decent results in these next two games, it will start getting fired at the dugout as well. So it's a really precarious position at the minute. And it's like anything in football, and it's the exact same for Danny Rowell now that he's taken that job on at Rangers. Get results and everything else will fall into place.
Yeah.
It's amazing what a couple of results will do just to change the momentum and to improve the environment that you're working in. So, I've said there's a really bad scenario for Brendan Rodgers that if he was to lose both of these games, but there's also the flip side of that. Win them both, get the momentum up, get the fans motoring again, and start to make some real serious inroads into the lead that Hearts have opened up at the top of the top of the table. That's all doable, but it really does depend on what happens next, the next steps, and yeah, I'm with you. I'm a huge admirer, and I've got massive respect for Brendan Rodgers, but that was a curious thing for him to say.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what he hoped to achieve with it.
One last very quick trip to the comments, Keith, before we round up today's show. This one, Rebel says, can't see where Celtic's next win is coming from. The football wasn't this bad during the COVID debacle. Mark, we know isn't a fan of Rodgers, says, say all season he's actively working his ticket, now trying to get the sack, please oblige him. David says, Honda Civic, aye right, Robin Reliant, more like. Paul says, Brendan has been driving it like a ladder with this constant 4-3-3 nonsense. Green Machine says Brendan's tactics and team selections are part of the troubles. And Chris Fraser finished off by saying, I think Celtic will beat Hearts. I mean, as we sit here now, Keith, do you make Hearts? I would personally think Hearts are favourites for that game.
You need to, I mean, I'm not a bookmaker. They'll have their odds. I'd be surprised if Celtic weren't favourites at the bookies. But as I said to you the other day, Daniel, that doesn't change what you're seeing with your own eyes.
Yeah.
And I think Hearts go into that game, looking really strong. At home, flying, momentum at the back, a really good group of players and a really astute manager. That's a tricky old afternoon for Celtic.